Alright guys, day 30, part 1. So in this video I want to talk about how you can become wealthy without actually starting a business. So of course there's many advantages to starting a business, and I think that if you're someone who likes entrepreneurship, who likes investing, who wants to, be extraordinarily wealthy, then that's something that I think everyone should pursue. But uh, in this video, I'm going to cover how you can become wealthy and in a relatively short period of time uh, without starting a business. So the first thing is developing a high income evergreen skills. Okay. Now, of course, some are going to take longer than others to develop, but the point is, if you can get to the position wherein, even though you're still trading your time for money, and let's face it, you're going to be trading your time for money no matter what, regardless of whether you start a business or if you're working a job. But of course, business gives you more autonomy in the sense that you can choose to work when you want to, and you also don't have a boss to tell you where you should be at a specific time. So you have the luxury of being able to, take a day off if you ever need it, and not have to ask for permission to do that. You have the luxury of being able to, move to anywhere in the world if your business is something that's run online. So business definitely gives you more flexibility, and I think that's something that everyone should work towards doing. But there are other ways to achieve that same level of flexibility, at least to a certain extent, and also become wealthy without actually starting a business. So what can you do? Well, you can go into typical things like law or medicine, which are very, very well paying. Investment banking is another one, but the thing is they're location independent typically. You need to be in a specific place at a specific time in order to make that kind of money. But if you can make that kind of money from any of those professions, and it's something that you're genuinely passionate about, and that's what you're pursuing, then by all means, like once you're making multiple six figures a year, which you will be as a doctor, a lawyer, or as an investment banker, then if you can invest 80% of your income. I'm assuming I'm assuming at this point you don't have student loans, but so assuming you don't have student loans and you're able to invest 80% of your income, you spend the remaining 20%, then you are on your way to being very, very wealthy. And realistically, if you become a lawyer or an investment banker, you can probably do it before 40. As a doctor, as an attending physician, if you get into something like surgery, then you can also do it very realistically by 40 or possibly even your mid 30s, just because of the ridiculous amount of money that you'll make. So there's that. Another way you can go about doing this without actually starting a business is to, again, cultivate one of those high income evergreen skills, and if not one of them, more than one of them. And ideally, it's also something that enables you to work remotely. Think remote high ticket sales, or a software engineering position, or a completely remote software engineering position. All right. Now these skills, sales at least is very performance based, so you need to actually be really, really good at it in order to get paid. And and software engineering, it's a stressful job. It's not easy to do, and you do need to get a certain number of qualifications, and it does take longer to master than sales, for example. But it can be mastered much more quickly than medicine or law. And technically speaking, you can't actually master technology because it's always changing. But the point is, if you can break into tech or sales and get a remote position, you now have that location independence flexibility. Sure, you're still trading your time for money, but now you can live anywhere in the world and still make that money and not have to be stuck in a single city or in a single location in order to produce income for yourself. And so it gives you another level of flexibility, and these positions are pretty well paying. So again, they're going to break into that multiple six figure range, and you can again invest over 80% of it into a portfolio that eventually generates more income for you than your actual active income source does, and eventually, and then if you want to, you can go full time. You can manage your portfolio full time, just focus on investing entirely, and that can be your new source of active income if that's something that you choose to do. Yeah, so that's basically the gist of how you can become wealthy in a relatively short period of time. Without having to start a business. All right. And by relatively short, I am saying by the age of your like mid 30s, that kind of age. And I know you guys probably see a lot of online gurus online who are probably 21, 22 years old, and they're multimillionaires. Guess what? That's not realistic. Like, I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm not saying it's not possible. I think it's something that everyone should strive to do, but don't be in a rush. All right, those guys, even though they're really young and they're very successful financially, what most people don't realize is that they also started at a very, very young age. Most of them started when they were 10 or 11 or 12 years old. Okay, so even though they're only 21, 22 years old now, they've been in the game for 10 years. All right, if you're like a college student, like maybe you just graduated college, or you're a student in high school, right? You're probably in your at least your mid to late teens, right? So they already got a head start, which is why they're where they are right now. If you start now, you're probably going to get to where they are, or at least to that position if you work, if you do the right things, if you work hard enough, and if luck plays out in your favor, of course, because it does take a certain degree of luck in order to achieve success. But if everything works out for you, then you'll probably be able to do it by the time you're in your mid 20s or something, or late 20s, right? If you start when you're in high school or something. If you start after graduating college, think early 30s. Okay, it's not like everyone has their own timeline. It's not just because someone becomes ridiculously successful or very very rich at a young age, it doesn't mean that just because you didn't do it by the same age that you're worse than that person. All right, yeah, everyone's on their own timeline, and at the end of the day, all that matters is that you get what you want. And so if you're willing to put in the work for it, you will get to it eventually. So like, detach time from the equation. That's something that I had to learn the hard way. I used to give myself deadlines and goals and be like, I want to be making this much money by this time next year or whatever. And it almost never panned out. And the reason was because I was focusing on the outcome and not the actual actions that I needed to take to achieve that outcome. So now what I've done instead is I've set goals for myself based on the actions I need to take to achieve the outcomes that I want. For example, I want to grow on YouTube. I want to get to hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of subscribers on this platform. And so that's not the goal that I set myself for. That's the outcome that that I want to achieve, but it's not my actual goal. The actual goal that I set for myself is to upload one high quality video every single week, a longer form video on the main channel, and make sure and improve it every single time I upload a new video. Okay, get better at video production every single time. Another goal is to upload across as many platforms as I possibly can. Pinterest, TikTok, Instagram, maybe even Facebook, YouTube Shorts every single day with short form content. And another goal is to produce 2 of these videos every single day, no matter what. And so those are the kinds of goals that I've set for myself in order to achieve the outcome that I want. I'm not actually focusing on the outcome. I'm focusing on the actions that I need to take to get to where I want. I've detached time from the equation. I'm not focusing on, I need to get to this point by this time this year, right? Because it's largely out of my control. But what is in my control are the actions that I can take in order to get to where I want to go. And so that's what I'm focusing on, and that's what you should focus on too when you're setting your goals. So I know this video turned into a really long ramble about a lot of things, but I hope you got some value out of it, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.